Hi fashionistas, welcome back to Salem Fashion YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make this beautiful butterfly bubu kaftan. So get your materials ready and let's begin the tutorial. So for this tutorial, this is the fabric that I'm going to be working with, and the length of this fabric is 46 inches and the width of the fabric is about 17.5 inches. I'm just going to work with the entire width because it is not long enough. If it was longer, I would still use more of it. So for this tutorial, guys, the first thing we need to do is to fold our fabric into 4. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead to illustrate that with this piece of paper because this fabric I'm working with is a very soft cotton fabric and it tangles a lot. I had to use iron to press it very well to hold it down right here on the table. Okay, and I've also gone ahead to mark some fence line. If you can see it, I'm going to explain everything on the fabric after illustrating on this paper. Okay, the first thing you're going to do, let's assume this is how your fabric is. Okay, first of all, we're going to go ahead and fold it into 2. After folding it into 2, we'll also go ahead again and fold it into 4. By the time you fold it into 4, this is what you're supposed to have: 1, 2, 3 and 4. But then I went ahead also to flip my fabric the folded side to face me because I'm going to be taking my measurement from the part that is folded. Okay guys, so after doing that, if you are working with a stretchy fabric, you can also go ahead to secure it down with pins so that it does not move while you are taking your body measurement. The first thing we're going to do after folding your fabric, we're taking our measurement, like I said, from the part that is unfold. Okay, so after that, from this folded part of your fabric, we are going to mark out our neck width. Okay, and for me, I use 3 inches for my neck width. This is because I'm working with a round neckline. Okay, so 3 inches is what I marked out right here for the width of my neck, and this is both for the back and the front. Then for the back neck depth, I came down by 1.5 inches, and then I went ahead to use a curve ruler to connect the curve here. Then I also came down by 2.5 inches for my front neck depth. You can use 3 inches, you can use 3.5 inches. It depends on your preference. Okay, I don't want my neckline to be too low, so I just work with 2.5 because by the time I use bias to turn it over, it is still going to widen a bit. So I just left it at 2.5 for the front neck depth, and I marked it right here. Go ahead and indicate half of your shoulder measurement. Half of my shoulder measurement was 7, so I went ahead to indicate it right here. After that, now guys, we are going to go ahead to indicate the full length of our sleeve. This fabric I'm working with does not have length. Okay, the length is not so much. I'm just going to use the entire length of the fabric for my sleeve, so it is still going to be like a short sleeve for my bubu. Okay, if you are working with a longer fabric and you would like your length to be longer, either long sleeve or 3/4, you can go ahead to lengthen it to your preference. Okay, so for me, from that point of my shoulder, I just decided to use the entire, which is like 10 inches for my sleeve opening. So after indicating the length of your fabric, from that point, you are going to come down by 1.5 inches, okay, for your shoulder slant. You can use 1 inches, you can use half inches, you can use 2 inches, whichever you desire. So I came down by 1.5 inches from the top of my fabric right here for my shoulder slant, and I went ahead to use my curve ruler to connect it back into my neckline. It is coming to meet with the neckline here. Okay, so after getting that step, now the next thing that we need to do now, guys, is to determine the length of our dress. I'm also going to use the entire length of this fabric because it is not also too long. The entire length of this fabric is about 46 inches. I'm just going to go ahead and trim off this part that is unequal. Okay, and then I'll use the 46 inches for the full length of my kaftan. So because this is a butterfly bubu, we don't need to take all our measurements right now yet. Okay, so what we need to do now is to go ahead and cut out the neckline, and also go ahead and cut out the shoulder slope, and then the full length. I'm just going to trim it off to be neat. Then I'll separate my fabric to cut out the front neckline. Then we proceed into the shaping part of this fabric. So guys, after cutting my fabric like this, As you can see, I've just gone ahead to cut out the neckline, but for the back first. I'm just going to separate these two pieces and fold it back and cut out my front neckline. Then I'll join it back and go ahead to my sewing machine and join it on the shoulder, and I'll be right back. So guys, after cutting out the neckline of my fabric, I just decided that I'll go ahead to just sew down the neckline of my fabric with bias before going ahead to join the shoulder. Okay, this is going to be more easier for you to do. So after cutting it out, go ahead and put your bias tape or facing, anything that you want to use for your neck, on the neckline first before going on to join the both shoulders together. Okay, so I'll go ahead and do that now, and I'll be right back and we'll continue. So there you have it, guys. I have gone ahead to sew my neckline with bias tape, and also I've gone ahead to join the shoulder. Okay, so if for my fabric, I did not hem the edges. That's because the fabric I'm working with has a fine finishing, so I just decided to go with that. So on your own fabric, if you're using a fabric that needs to be hemmed, you have to go ahead and hem the sleeve after joining your shoulder, okay, on both sides, and also go ahead and join the down part before you proceed with the shaping. So now that I'm done with this part, I'm going to go ahead now to refold my fabric, but this time it's going to be on the fine side. Remember that we marked on the wrong side of our fabric while we were marking out our shoulder and neckline. For this process now, we need to mark it on the outside, that is the fine side of the fabric. That is where we are going to be marking on, because we're going to be sewing it from the outside, from the fine side, because it is a butterfly bubu. Okay, so guys, after arranging your fabric like this, remember that we have joined it on the shoulder part, so you just need to fold it into two again. And also don't forget that it is on the fine side now that we are taking our measurements. Okay, you are going to come down by your bust point measurement, and for me it is 9 inches. You will start from your shoulder point here. Okay, for me it is 9 inches. I'm just going to go ahead and mark it right here. Okay, that is not clear enough. Okay, right there. So then from that point again, you are going to come down from your shoulder point down to your waist length. Okay, and for me my waist length is 16.5 inches. From your shoulder again, you will take your waist length. For me it is 16.5 inches, and again from your shoulder you are going to go ahead and take your hip length, and for me it is 26 inches. Okay, I went ahead to mark it here. Now you are going to go on and rule straight lines. Okay, so after ruling your straight lines like this, we are going to go on now, guys, to indicate on this first line that is our bust line. We are going to indicate quarter of our bust circumference. Okay, so your bust circumference, your round bust circumference divided by 4 is what you will indicate here. So you are going to add some allowances for ease, because this is a kaftan, it is not a fitted dress. You are not just going to work with your exact body measurement. You need to add a allowance for ease. Okay, you can add 1 inch, 2 inch, 3 inch, or 4, even for some people. It depends on your preference. So for me, I'm going to indicate quarter of my bust circumference plus 2 inches for ease. Okay, and that for me is 11 inches. I'm going to go on and indicate it right here. Then on my waistline, I'm also going to indicate quarter of my waist circumference plus another 2 inches for ease, and that for me is 9 inches. I'll also go ahead and indicate it right here, the 9 inches. Okay, quarter of my waist circumference plus 2 inches for ease. Then on the hip line, I'm also going to indicate quarter of my hip circumference plus 2 inches again for ease, and that will give me 12 inches. Okay, so on the hem of your garment here, we are going to have a slit opening at this point, and this slit depends on your preference. You can decide to leave 5 inches, you can decide to leave 8 inches, or 10 inches. It just depends on your preference. So for me, I'm going to come up by 8 inches right here. I'm going to stop right here on this 8 inches part. So what I need to do now is to just connect these points together. Okay, I'm just going to use my free hand. This is where how my shaping is going to be, and then from this point now, I'm just going to draw a straight line all the way down, but I'm going to stop on this point right here that is going to serve as my slit opening. So for how to stitch this garment now, you're just going to go ahead and run a straight stitch. Normally you don't even need to really shape this dress, okay? It is not a fitted dress. You can just even run a straight stitch from the top like this. I'm just giving you another way of doing this. Some people, they just want a little shaping, but this is just a free dress. You can just go on and just hold it right here and just sew it all the way down. Okay, then now you're going to also flip your fabric to this other side and take this same measurement on this side as well. You are going to come down again by your, indicate your bust line from the top of your fabric. Remember that mine was 9 inches that I came down with. I'm just going to mark it right here like this. Then I also come down by my waist length, which is 16.5 inches right here, and indicate it as well. Then from the same shoulder point, I'm going to come down by my hip length, which was 26 inches. I'm also going to mark it down like this. Then I also go ahead again to draw straight lines. After drawing these straight lines, we'll still go on to indicate all our round body measurements, the quarter of it plus those ease that we added. So on my bust circumference, it was 11 inches. You take your measurement from the part that is folded, okay, and indicate it right here. Then on my waist, it was 9 inches. I'll also go on and take it like this and just indicate it. Then on my hip, it was 12 inches. I'll also go ahead to indicate it this way like this. Then on this part, I came up by 8 inches. Okay, and I marked it out for my slit. So once I take my fabric to the sewing machine and I sew it down, I'm going to stop right here at this point of my slit. Now you can just go on to connect this part. So you will go ahead now to open your fabric, guys, like so. You can open your fabric now after marking it. Let me show you. So you go on to your sewing machine now and follow this line that you ruled out here and just sew it down straight, and also come here on the second part and also sew this line and rule it down straight. So that is it for this tutorial, guys. By the time I go and sew my fabric and return, I'm just going to be showing you the finished look of this kaftan, this butterfly dress. Okay, I'll go on to do that right now and I'll be right back.
So guys, it's a wrap for today's tutorial. Here I present you the finished look. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Also feel free to share this video with someone. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.